Okay, so in this video I'm going to be teaching you how to set a Z position without using the probe. Now, this might sound counterintuitive at first, however it's necessary before using the probe to make sure that the probe is working properly and measuring it accurately. So before I get started, I'm going to be using a gauge block of some kind. Doesn't really matter, it helps if it's a little bit smaller. I'm using 1 inch. I've used 2 inch before. You can use a 0.1. If you have a metric machine, or your machine's in metric, it would be easier to use a metric gauge block, or if you can just convert the math, that would work too. Or just, measure it, kind of keep track of how the height of the block before actually using it. So we're going to switch over to my, I call it my little dowel pin probe. And all that is it's really just a dowel pin and an end mill holder. It's nothing special, but it's still viable as a good reference. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna make sure that we got that tool length set on our fake probe. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna come in and touch it off, 8324, and we're gonna run this auto tool length measurement program to touch this off on our tool setter. And this might be different if you don't have a tool setter. If that's the case, then you would just touch it off the way you touch off the rest of your tools. The point of this is that it's the same as your tools, so that when your tools come down and the offsets are active, that they all make sense and they all agree with each other. So we'll turn that down. I don't like it going too fast. I'll just let that find a tool length. I'm gonna come in here. I actually already touched it off, but we're gonna watch it anyway. It should have changed, but you should be watching for that. I know that's the right height, but if it didn't change, just make sure it changes. So now we can come over and we want to type in a G-code in the MDI to kind of activate that tool length offset and bring this known length down near our workpiece. Now it's good to start at a higher position, just so it's not so scary. Now the way you do this, you kind of take note of how long your tool is. I'll check that again. So it's about 3 and almost 1/3 inches, and I'll just kind of keep that in my mind. So I have to be at least that much lower, so I might just bump that up to 4. And in my head, what I'm about to do, and I'm going to come in back to MDI in the program, and I want to check. Well, actually, what I want to check is the machine coordinate. So I'm at the Z home position, which is a little bit different from other machines where this might be 0, but this reads 18, which is how far away that is from the table. It's a little bit backwards, but it'll work. It works the same regardless. What we're gonna keep in mind is that we want to be about 4 inches less than that at least. And I'm just thinking that 14 would be right. Good place to start. Just some mental math. So what we want to do first, we're going to use G54. And to get a G54, we want to find workpiece coordinate 0. We want to set this to 0. And for future reference, when we get to this one, I'll set that to 0 too. I'll do it later. So we set that to 0. Completion mode, save. Now we'll go back into the program page of MDI, and I want to type in G0, G90, G54 is what I'm going to use to begin with, and then That's rapid move. Oh, I didn't type in 90, so I want to type in 90. 90 means it's an absolute, and what that just means, it's going to go from a distance from the part that you're calling out. So since I set G54 to 0, this is just going to be the height from the table. So I'll type in, I want to use G54, and G54 is, you know what G54 is, it's just the workpiece coordinate. And then to activate our tool length offset, we're going to use G43 and specify that tool length. It is we're using H and we're using tool 20. H, I kind of remember H because it means height. Now I'm going to send it to a Z position, so I think 14 is safe. I'll try 14. It might throw an alarm if it's not enough, but we'll try that. Let's turn this down. I'll hit start. I got a green light, so that's good. So that means I can kind of flick this a little bit and kind of work that down until it stops. So that stopped. That's good. Turning this back down, I don't want it to go anywhere on its own. It'll come into manual. And you'll notice that in your absolute coordinate position, this number is much different than this number at this point in time, and that's because you activated your H20. So this number is pretty much just taking this number and subtracting your tool length. So for the bottom of that dowel pin should be exactly 14 inches above the table at this time. So what I want to do now that I got this number up, I want to be, I'm in manual, and I'm going to kind of hand wheel this dowel pin down to this plate. Now I'll blow that coolant off later so it's kind of clean. We'll bring this down some more. We're going to go right about, we're going to get kind of close. Not, well, shoot, I have a 1 inch block, so I want to be an inch away. I'll grab this. I'll kind of position that underneath there, and I want to watch this, lower it down until I'm just really close to it, where I'm kind of shaky. I want to get, it's easiest to get barely underneath it, that way you can kind of work it out until it slides under. Again, underneath it, that should be underneath it, it's not. We'll get a little bit further. And now we're definitely underneath it. Underneath the top of the block. So I want to raise up a little bit more. Kind of just, the idea of this is similar to the paper trick, if you've ever learned that. You want a movement sort of like this, any kind of feeling around. You want this to be somewhat difficult. So I'm going to come over to my hand wheel. I'm going to make this more of a fine movement. Come down a little more. Just keep going back and forth until that goes, but barely. This might take me some time. I might have to skip to when it's good. I don't know if you can see here, but there's something of a resistance when I slide this block underneath the pin. So that means I've got to be right on or pretty darn close to whatever I'm trying to touch. So I'm done with this. I can set it down. Now I know I'm an inch above what I want to be at. So what I can kind of take note of that. I go into position, come over to counter reset, and set my relative to 1 inch, and that kind of lets me know for now that I'm 1 inch above my part or whatever I'm trying to touch. So now I can come over, just kind of get away from it. I'm going to bring it down 1 inch until that's about 0. Make sure you're not hitting it. Got that at Z0, so that's good. So now this should still be active, and that is the Z coordinate that I want to put in for G54. So I want to remember 5.8768, and I can always go back and forth between these two. I'm going to data bank workpiece coordinate 0, G54. Again, I already forgot what it was. It's a weird number. I want to go back to position. I want 5.8768. Now that is the Z coordinate that I want to go with. So I'm going to completion mode, save and change. So now that I'm out of there, I'm gonna Z up all the way. So you can do that. Make sure your handle's off. This is usually pretty safe. So you just hit ATC. So shoot up. And what I want to do now, I'll come back into MDI. Now I've still got this code pulled up, but I want to check it. So I have my 1-inch block still. So I got to just kind of send this to 1 inch. You can also send it above that, kind of work it in again if you wanted to, but this is quicker. So I'll turn this down again, hit go, and it's waiting on me to turn up my rapid. So I'll just kind of slowly work that in. I'd stop at 1 inch above right there. Turn this off so it doesn't go anywhere again. Oh, and I'm going to manual. Turn on my handle wheel. Trying to come back over my part. Or qualifiable surface. Take a precision block or shank or pin or whatever. Make sure that that's still good. That means you did it right. Now if this isn't going by a little bit, that's okay. If it's usually just close is good enough most of the time. You have now successfully set a G54Z without a probe. Hope that helps. Thanks for watching.